In a time when the FPS campaign is so vanishingly rare that the only helping of big budget shooting we can rely on each year is from Call of Duty, it'd be easy for id Software to kick up its feet and decide more Doom is good enough. Honestly, it would be good enough for me, but that'd be dereliction of id's duty to the genre it created. To id, a new Doom is an opportunity to demolish a perfectly good sandcastle and start fresh. Doom: The Dark Ages is the trilogy's sharpest Zad yet, recasting the Slayer from a meaty fighter jet ducking and dashing past the hordes of hell to a stalwart tank, smashing shield first into the action. The transition is successful, but it's not without major sacrifice. This is Doom at its most indulgent and deliciously violent. But it's also dumbed down and undeniably the easiest of the trilogy. Maps are uncharacteristically barren, secrets abnormally obvious, and puzzles so simple that they hardly fit the description of puzzle. Viewed through the lens of the loud feedback that insisted Doom Eternal was too complicated, The Dark Ages is an overcorrection. The Dark Ages turns back the clock to our favorite Demon Smasher Salad days as a pawn of the Makers in a war against Hell. He's the same Slayer as ever, still feral and focused in his distaste for demons, but he's now sporting a tasteful beast pelt to let us know we're in olden times. But in a decision that proves profoundly short-sighted, the Makers decide to keep him locked up in a spaceship with a shock collar. You can imagine how that goes. We've got Sentinels, battle tanks, mechs, dragons, and a surprising density of cutscenes for a Doom game.
All the power of hell cowering before one man.
This time, it's not just detached robot voices telling the Slayer what to kill next. Instead, we see the main players in his orbit, King Novit of the Argent d'Honneur versus Prince Azrak of Hell, facing off between bouts of bloodshed. Characters and plot have as much nuance as professional wrestling, setting the stage for the campaign's next set piece, a grand siege, an ancestral forge, the belly of a demon taller than a downtown high-rise. But it never gets bogged down by proper nouns. The story is appropriately uncomplicated. The Slayer's otherworldly determination and general freakishness, they're amplified by his proximity to normal, communicative humans. They treat him like an unknowable demigod, inherently dangerous but effective when pointed in the direction of Hellspawn. I loved the dynamic, partly because id is paying off years of myth building, but also because the Slayer adopts the role of a deranged Master Chief, more or less following orders as long as he agrees with the mission. The Dark Ages rebooted gun ballet revolves around the shield saw. Permanently bound to right-click, the shield blocks all damage from the front and sends green projectiles back to their senders. It's a singular change that ripples through every facet of the Dark Ages, anchoring the Slayer to the ground in exchange for survivability. I cannot sing the praises of the shield saw loud enough. Shrugging off the blows of lesser demons and nailing the timing on parries is empowering from minute one, elevating Doom's brutality and giving the player permission to run towards the biggest threats instead of playing keep away. In fact, the only move resembling Eternal's air dash is a shield dash that instantly closes the distance on large demons and obliterates fodder on contact. An early upgrade gives the shield its chainsaw teeth, turning it into a throwable that either stuns or slices straight through demons. The shield slots into Doom's deadly dance like it was always there. It's elegant, useful, it's aggressive, and unfortunately it's also one note. Once you can throw it around, the shield is basically done evolving, and my tactics were locked in for the campaign's duration. What the Dark Ages gains with its shield, it loses with its guns. Relinquishing right-click to block means that guns no longer have dedicated secondary fire modes. They're still upgradable, but they're now focused on passive boost to my reload speed, fire rate, or damage. Besides a few bright spots like a shredder upgrade that let me shoot at my own thrown shield to ricochet shots towards surrounding enemies, my weapons never really improved in ways that encouraged me to alter my game plan. For example, I'd been glancing at this grayed out screen of upgrades called shield runes for hours, anticipating some sort of blue gravity gun level twist that'd take my shield antics to the next level. When I got my first shield rune halfway through the game, I was disappointed to find that they're essentially just gun upgrades but for the shield. Damage dealing attacks automatically triggered by successful parries, and I could only have one equipped at a time. They're neat, but since they're just something that happens when I parry an attack, which is something I was already doing whenever possible, it ends up just being more DPS on the pile. What worked in hour 1 of the Dark Ages, which is like spamming my shotgun, shield dashing away from danger, and deflecting anything colored green, also worked in hour 17, and that's a huge bummer. As much as it pains me to admit, the Dark Ages thematic stand-ins for ballistic guns just aren't as fun to shoot either. The ballista replacement launches stakes that hit hard but have an oddly short range. The shredder is just a heavy cannon that sounds like a nail gun, and those guns that hurl bits of skull are all bark and no bite. The lone exception to this rule is the chain shot, a monstrous back half rival that launches wrecking balls, caving in skulls before reeling back into the gun like a sinful yo-yo. Thankfully, it didn't mess with its two shotguns, the rocket launcher or the plasma rifle, all of which sound and look better than ever. Bland guns are just a symptom of the Dark Age's larger streamlining problems. The role of any individual gun is murky at best because all demons are vulnerable to almost all weapons, and most don't pose a significant threat. Every boss fight and high-tier demon is designed around creating openings by parrying with the shield. This is a quietly huge shift because in both previous Dooms of this series, enemies had clear-cut resistances and weaknesses, which are here replaced by throwing the shield at armor to destroy it. The Slayer's constant vulnerability previously meant his arsenal was his shield. It was about working quickly and efficiently to kill demons faster than they can kill you, and it was crucial to survey the battlefield and make decisions about which weapons to conserve for tougher targets. Basically, the only way out was through. But in the Dark Ages, the solution to every problem is just in your left hand. You know, with the shield, you can always just block it, shoot it, and you're done. It doesn't help that ammo is completely irrelevant too. In a truly baffling change for the Dark Ages, the chainsaw is gone, and now all you gotta do for endless piles of ammo is punch the nearest grunt. Glory kills got a similar treatment. They're mostly gone, but with larger demons getting some gruesome new animations while the majority of executions settle for brief slow-mo punches that just pop health items. Can you hear that? It's the sound of Doom's signature health, ammo, shield, resource economy evaporating. I get the sense that the Dark Age's mechanical pruning is in service of making it the most accessible, instantly enjoyable Doom for the most people. If that's the case, then mission accomplished. This is still Doom, so it's still very fun. It's just that the last two set the bar absurdly high, and being in their shadow still makes the Dark Ages one of the best single-player FPSs around. I suspect that its throttled pace will make the Dark Ages the most comfortable of the series to play with a controller. Customizable difficulty will help too. There's a long list of toggles and sliders that let me tune everything from projectile speeds and parry windows to exact damage values going in and out. That is a win for everybody. I did have more fun in the Dark Ages after increasing enemy aggression, tightening the parry window, and experimenting with higher projectile speeds. But at some point I had to accept that I was fishing for complexity that wasn't really there. The Dark Ages levels are especially simplistic next to the mazes and jungle gyms of the last two games, presumably to accommodate for all the slow-moving projectiles and the Slayer's wimpy new jump. Most maps are massive, flat, and devoid of hazards. Like id took Doom 2016's winding corridors and pressed them down into a pancake. I like that they're more friendly to backtracking than ever, with areas spoken off a central platform. But a few of the larger maps had me sprinting across empty deserts way too often. Secrets are still scattered literally everywhere, but the majority of them are so obviously placed and announced by the map that I rarely felt like I was discovering something. It's another area where Eternal just had more to offer. Those ultra-hard opt-in challenge rooms, they're gone. Now puzzles just give you an extra life for more gold to buy upgrades. At least those platforming sections that a lot of folks hated, but I loved, demanded a quick reflex test to get to the side goodies. I should mention the mech and the dragon stuff that's all over the trailers. Those are cool little moments of punching demons with a big robot and dog fighting with hell ships sprinkled throughout the 22 level campaign, but they're so brief, easy, and detached from the main action that they didn't really stick in my head. They're an unnecessary but welcome change of scenery. If it sounds like that I'm just asking for Doom Eternal 2, I promise I'm not. The Dark Ages is fun in totally different ways than its predecessor, and I love that, but its peaks are lower. After rolling credits, I went back to Doom 2016 and Eternal to confirm the gut feeling. It has done a lot of subtraction with not a lot of addition. And I reckon that this is the first Doom that I won't replay. Doom is a series I associate with taking big swings, but the Dark Ages is safe. For the full review, head over to PCGamer.com.